Hello, everybody. This is Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host, Eleazar. I'm joined again by co-host Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Great.
Cool. Welcome. So today we're talking about Cabin in the Woods. It came out in 2012. It was written by Drew Gooder and Joss Whedon. Drew Gooder wrote Cloverfield, The Martian, Daredevil, World War Z, and Bad Times at the El Royale, which is actually really fun.
His name is Gooder? Somebody ought to correct his name to best.
Maybe it's Goddard.
Oh.
Goddard.
Okay. Goddard.
Goddard. Okay.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon, we know him obviously from Buffy, Angel, Firefly, The Avengers, and Dollhouse.
Indeed.
He's a great writer. I know people criticize his directing after the fact, but I really like his writing. It's really good.
Yeah.
Even his comic books are good. We have Kristen Connolly, who plays Dana. She's from The Bay and House of Cards. Chris Hemsworth is obviously Thor, who's also in Snow White and the Huntsman and Extraction. And Hutchinson plays Jules. She's from Power Rangers Jungle Fury, where she played the Yellow Ranger. Also was in What We Do in the Shadows. Frank Kranz plays Marty, who is also in Dollhouse. He's in The Village and the Dark Tower movie. Jesse Williams, who shares a name with my wife, was in Grey's Anatomy, where his name is Jackson Avery.
He also shares a name with me, right?
Yeah, that's true. She isn't here with you. Well, yeah. But this point, right? So my wife's name is Jessie. In Grey's Anatomy, he plays Jackson Avery. Jackson is my middle kid's name, and then my youngest kid's second first name is Avery because he's Jasper Avery. So this guy, Jesse, Jackson, and Jasper's names, all in his acting career, and he did play Josh once, which is the name of my other kid, which is fascinating.
I wonder if he's actually from the future and
and a fan of me.
Yeah.
That could be what it is. We got Richard Jenkins, who plays Sitterson, one of the technicians underground. He was in Bone, Tomahawk, The Shape of Water, Step Brothers, and Burn After Reading. Then we have Bradley Whitford, who plays Steve Hadley. I remember him best from Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise, where he plays one of the jocks. But he's also in The Handmaid's Tale, Get Out, Billy Madison, and he was in Ghostbusters 2026. And then the surprise at the end is Sigourney Weaver, who plays the director, who's obviously from the Alien franchise, Ghostbusters, Avatar, and even Galaxy Quest, which is amazing. Brian White plays Truman. I know him from Stomp the Yard. Amy Acker, who plays Lynn. She was in Angel. She played Winifred, which is amazing. But also in Alias, Person of Interest, and The Gifted. Tom Link, who plays the intern, named Ronald. I think it's Ronald. He's from the Boogeyman 2, Transformers, but he was also in Buffy and Angel, where he played Andrew Wells, one of the trio, alongside Jonathan and Andrew, the trio of evil nerds. I don't know if you remember them. It had a budget of about $30 million, and it grossed about 66.5 worldwide. Okay, so it made money back. Good. All right. Rotten Tomatoes score of 91%, which is pretty good. Anything you want to say about it before we start?
Just that I think it's a fascinating movie, and it works on multiple levels at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But we will talk about that as we go on.
Great. So the film opens up with a scene in a modern underground facility where two technicians, Gary Stinson and Steve Hadley is annoyed that his wife is prematurely kid-proofing the entire house. She's even putting child-proofing on the top cabinets, and she isn't even pregnant yet. And Hadley jokes that the kid won't be able to reach them until he's 30. They're joined by Lynn, and she's worried about the coming ritual-like operation that they're going to perform, and she tells them that Stockholm went south. She's worried that it's just between them and Japan now, and they tell her that Japan has never failed.
Honestly, Stockholm's so far north, it's hard for them to go anywhere but south.
Right, that's true. They said that the last time they had a glitch was in 98, and they blame it on the Kim department, which is her department. Then they drive away. He's talking about going golfing later in the week. They're driving like a little go-kart through the place, and he looks over at Sitterson, and he's like, "Are you even paying attention to what I'm saying?" And he looks up like, "What?" And then we get this title card that says
sudden title,
The Cabin in the Woods.
It's got to be one of the craziest ways to start a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, the whole intro with the credits and everything, it's a bunch of scary, like, historical scenes of stuff, right? But it's not anything specific or with any specific obvious connection to the movie.
Right.
Like, I'm not quite sure if it's trying to say anything or just trying to keep you guessing what the movie's going to be about.
Sure.
And then you've got this these businessmen having a silly conversation that doesn't tell you anything and isn't scary, and then sudden title card, right? It's
Right.
like, what the hell what am I watching?
So in the commentary, They said they wanted the movie to open up in a way that threw the audience off completely.
Well, they succeeded.
Right. They also wanted people to question if they sat down for the wrong movie.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then we get the introduction to the 5 college-age characters who sort of fit the horror stereotypes. We get Dana, who serves as the movie's final girl / virgin architect, who is very much into studying and just had an affair with one of her teachers, so she's not a virgin. And she's parading around next to the window in her underwear to show that she's really hot, but also not innocent. She's joined by Jules, who is the hot blonde promiscuous stereotype, which this movie would refer to as the whore. She's more funny. She just bleached her hair the day before, so she's not naturally a blonde. It's a new thing for her.
And her IQ dropped by 30 points that day.
Right, yeah, right. Jules wants Dana to be meeting Holden, and she shows her the sexy bikini that she wants her to be wearing while doing it. That's when Kurt walks in the room, played by Chris Hemsworth, and he's the jock. He passes a football out the window and is caught by Holden, played by Jesse Williams outside, who's the nice guy scholar and the moral voice. Kurt and Jules have this joke about the books and this whole, "Where did you learn this from?" And she says back, "I learned this from watching you," which was a reference to a 90s drug commercial about a dad who found his kid smoking pot, asking his kid where he learned it, and the kid says it back to him, "I learned it by watching you."
I was going to say that was a more current reference when this came out, but really it wasn't. It was kind of a dated reference.
And in my notes here, I joke that so the whole parents who do drugs have kids that do drugs probably explains why my kids love Reese's peanut butter cups so much. Because that's what I consume.
That's your pack-a-day habit.
Exactly, right? We'll also find out that the jock stereotype, Kurt, is really into books and recommends some more advanced reading for Dana that will impress her professors. After all this, Kurt realizes he's talking to Dana with no pants on, and he walks out, and she's really embarrassed. Outside, Holden is packing his things when Marty drives up, who fills the role of the stoner comic relief guy, who they call the Fool in the movie.
And he's got all these conspiracy theories, which I feel like are foreshadowing.
Oh, big time. Completely. When he first pulls up, his car is full of smoke. It's a wonder he could see anything while driving. He's got this really long bong that switches down, transforms into a coffee cup. He pulls off the bong part. It becomes the handle of the coffee cup. And it just looks like a guy walking around with drinking coffee, which is great. And I think they sold them after this movie.
Really?
Yeah. As they're driving away, they see a man on a roof that tells them that they are on their way. You're like, okay, so they're being watched. So we find out that where they're going to have no cell phone reception because it's in the middle of nowhere. And Marty gets excited about this because he wants to be off the grid because he hates being tracked and recorded, which is total foreshadowing what's going to happen in this whole movie.
And I mean, and we also, by that point, we already know they are, in fact, being tracked and recorded. I think there's something fun about the fact that they start showing you the behind-the-scenes stuff right from the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's certainly not traditional. Normally you would show from the character's point of view
and then find out.
Only reveal the behind the scenes what's going on
when they
much later.
Discover like a camera. Like what's going on here?
Exactly. Like some
they
turning
found us,
point.
guys. Yeah.
But here it's like the first people they show us are the damn,
Office
guys.
Workers.
It's like that's what I like about Joss Whedon though. All his writing, he breaks the cliches,
I agree. Yeah. So here's a quote here on this drive where he's talking about conspiracy theories that he says that society needs to crumble, but we're all too chicken shit to let it.
That I think is foreshadowing for the very ending.
Yeah. So while everybody else seems to be drinking already, he's rolling a lot of joints for this weekend. A lot of joints.
Yeah.
Back at the facility, we meet Truman, who cards Sitterson and Hadley to the area in which they have surveillance and controls for this whole event they have planned for that night. And all the tech is very state-of-the-art with satellites that can zoom in all the way. They pull up to this old-timey looking gas station. The guy comes out. He's really creepy. He doesn't seem to want their business at all. They ask him for directions to the bunker place. He says that place is always being sold. He doesn't know the original owners, and he's been there since the war. Jules asks, interested, and she's like, "What war?" And he's like, "You know damn well what war I'm talking about." And I'm like,
I don't think any
I
of us
don't
do.
know the
Yeah.
war he's talking about.
But it's such a trope too, right? The creepy gas station. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I immediately think of Children of the Corn, right? But
Yeah.
like the fact that he's even got a Confederate flag in the window and like all this stuff. It's just it's so corny. And you know that they know it is because later on we even have the background characters or the behind the scenes characters mocking the guy for how corny and tropey he is.
Right. So he calls Jules a whore, which makes them decide to stop pumping gas. Kurt pays him, and then they leave. On the way, they drive through a tunnel so they don't see when an eagle flies into a giant force field and kills him. And you're like, what?
That, I think, is the moment when you realize that this movie is just not playing around.
Right?
Nothing you expect is gonna happen.
So we see the cabin. It looks like a generic, creepy cabin we see in every horror movie, although my favorite is The Evil Dead. When Holden goes into his room, he sees a very graphic painting with, like, depicting cutting up an animal. So he removes it from the wall to reveal that there's a two-way mirror. And on the other side is Dana, who's looking at him without knowing she's looking at him. She starts to undress, and he thanks for a second, but he knocks and yells, like, hey, stop, hold up, because he has morals. And then we cut to the whole group looking at the thing. Kurt and Jules go off to look to see if they can find any other cool, like, paintings that removed to reveal the same kind of thing. Holden volunteers to switch rooms, and when their positions are switched, she finds it's a little harder not to peek at his amazing muscular build. When he starts to undress further, she puts up the painting, but then she sees how graphic it is, so she throws a blanket over it.
Yeah, I guess the idea is supposed to be that they deliberately put this horrifying painting there so that to make them take it down so that this one-way mirror would create some sort of drama or intrigue or something.
So the camera zooms out to see everybody in the cabin on a series of monitors. Hadley is reporting the room change, and Lynn comes in the room after passing the security check with Truman. She reports that they are drugging Kurt to increase his libido, and they're slowing the cognition in Jules via her hair products, which they point out really is spot on the nose of the dumb blonde. Because she uses the bleach to blonde her hair, and it really did drop her IQ. The phone call comes from Mordecai, a.k.a. the Harbinger, who's that guy at the gas station.
Yeah, which is great. It sounds so. His name sounds so epic, you know?
Yes. He's definitely a method actor, because in the control room, they put him on speaker, and they're making fun of him. And when they all laugh, he realizes he's on speakerphone. He says that's totally not fair.
And it becomes really obvious that he's a Children of the Corn reference when they say his name is Mordecai.
Yes,
right? Like,
yeah.
Question not my judgment, Mordecai. No, it's Malachi.
Oh, that's Malachi.
That's right, Malachi. Yeah, but it's still very reminiscent. Like,
it's very similar, sure. He also mentions the Ancient Ones, which is kind of funny because when this one comes out, our last episode we would have been Underwater, which also has Ancient Ones lore kind of hidden in it. We get the scene at the lake where Dana Holden jump in right away. Then Kirk acts like he sees something weird in the water, like he's trying to scare them. But then he says it looks like his girlfriend, and he pushes Jules into the water before jumping in with her. In fact, the only one that not jump in the water here is Marty, and that's because actor Fran Kranz, the actor who actually plays Marty, was actually really muscular under all those layers. And the director worried that if we saw Marty's muscles, it would downplay the muscles of Chris Hemsworth and Jackson's muscles, because he's also really fit. Like I'm looking at pictures of how ripped he was, and you can't see it because they haven't.
You don't want the fool to look muscular,
right? But yeah, so they covered up in all these like kind of loose fitting layers, so you wouldn't know. I found that fascinating. In the control room, we see that all the group's vitals are on the screen. This is when Sitterson tells everyone that it's the final time to place their bets. We see that the intern named Ronald, played by Tom Link, who I said earlier was from Buffy, he bets the same things that maintenance bet on. Hadley bet on a merman, which Sitterson thinks is a bad bet. We find that Truman doesn't bet and is concerned that the director wouldn't approve, but Hadley tells them as long as they do everything according to plan, no one will care. Then Truman asks if the events aren't fixed, and Hadley explains that the group of kids have to choose their fate, and Sitterson comes in to add that they can choose to ignore the warnings of the Harbinger and still go on the journey, and in the end they have to make their own choice of free will or the whole ritual doesn't work. Truman still doesn't bet, but in the last minute, Lynn puts in her bet.
Explains they don't transgress, they can't be punished.
Yes.
And I think this is very much, they're trying to explain how horror movies traditionally work, right? Going back to the 60s, the idea that the characters who get killed are metaphorically sort of being punished for whatever they did that violated social norms in some way. And I think that this metaphor goes pretty deep in this movie, right? Because every time we see these sort of behind the scenes characters like coldly betting on what's going to happen or laughing or joking about it, right? It feels like there's a two-way metaphor there. Like they're kind of representing sort of the cast and crew who are actually making the movie and tormenting the characters, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it also feels like it's kind of a shot at the audience, right? Like they're almost wagging their finger at the audience for being so happy to watch people get killed and dismembered and stuff.
Right. And in fact, when he says things like, hey, we're not the only ones watching here.
Right.
We have someone else to please.
Exactly.
It's like the people making the film have to please the audience.
Yes.
Which I love. Yeah. It's really good at that.
I like getting to be one of the old gods, you know? I'm all in favor of that.
Sure, yeah. So the scene ends with Sitterson saying, let's get the party started. And we transition to Kurt, who's saying the same line when he's passing out beer in the cabin. Then they start playing Truth or Dare. Marty asks Jules Truth or Dare. And when she says Dare, Kurt hopes that he's going to dare her to make out with Dana, but he asks her to make out with that moose over there. But the group all corrects him while laughing at it because that's obviously a wolf. And funny thing, this is when the first time I watched this with my kids, one of my kids walked out of the room because they could not watch someone make out with a stuffed head of a wolf. They were like, I'm done. I'm out. But luckily we rewatched it for this, and he was able to sit through the rest of the movie, and he's really glad about it because it's a really good movie.
Also, the whole making out with the wolf scene is so funny.
It is.
Just the way she plays it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So Jules calls on Dana next, and Kurt is convinced that she's going to chicken out even if she picks Dare and will pick Truth.
And I meant to mention, when talking about her making out with the wolf,
yeah,
I felt like, once again, there's some kind of symbolism there of her embracing danger, like, right? Like making out with, they've made this wolf look really scary.
Yeah.
And she's making out with it as if she is just embracing her own demise. She also was the one earlier who said life is risk back when they went swimming.
Oh, okay.
They're real consistent about her, like, practically asking for it, right? Which you can interpret in more than one way.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of layers, is all I'm saying.
So Dana won't back down and says dare. But this is when the cellar door burst open, just like cellar door did in The Evil Dead. Kurt says that the wind must have blown it open, and Marty asks how that makes any sense. So they dare Dana to go down, and while it's dark and full of artifacts, I can't possibly name them all, but she sees a dollhouse, a creepy white face mask, a picture of a family in front of a cabin, and a picture of a little girl.
Could the dollhouse possibly be a reference to Dollhouse?
It could be.
I mean, it might be a reference to a different horror movie.
I think there's a creepy doll that comes out and attacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Later. And there's a lot of doll movies.
That's true.
Evil
that
dolls.
is true, though. That is true.
But I think it doesn't mean it can't reference the show Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Because I think it could.
And also, just, it's so much fun with Marty lampooning every stupid horror movie cliche, right? Like,
yes, because he sees right through it all.
Right, like, what do you mean the wind blew it open? Right? Because that's such a line from so many old corny movies.
Exactly.
And also, that's just such a Joss Whedon thing, right? Having every overdramatic or silly thing get mocked by one of the characters.
Yeah. So Marty lights a lantern, and we see a knockoff of a Zoltar machine, a conch shell, a jewelry box with a ballerina dancer inside, an old book. Kurt almost blows into the conch when he sees a ball with metal around it. Marty tries to dare them to all go back upstairs, but Jules finds a wedding dress and starts to put on the necklace. Marty finds a series of film reels. Holden spins the jewelry box dancer. Kurt starts to solve the puzzle sphere, which I think is hilarious. That they went with sphere instead of cube.
They're just making fun of the puzzle box being a cube.
Exactly. Dana picks up the old diary. They all stop when Dana calls them over to listen to the journal, and she starts to read the diary of Anne Patience Buckner, 1903, which talks about how she could save her family. She says there's something in Latin, and Marty says, okay, I draw the line here in the fucking sand. We are not reading Latin. Which is the same advice Giles gave Xander in the 4th season episode of Buffy called Superstar, because the book caught fire as soon as he started reading Latin in front of him. Then a voice whispers out, read it, followed by, read it aloud. Mm-hmm. And she does read it, and Marty seems to be the only one that notices the voice. That's when outside we see a few things start to crawl out of the ground, which looks like zombies with tools. We cut to the control room. Citizen tells the group they have a winner. It's the Buckners, which means the pot goes to maintenance, shared with Ronald, the intern. Another woman comes over to say she chose zombies as well, but he points out that this is zombie redneck torture family, which is a total different category.
Yeah.
Truman looks at the monitors and says that the Buckners look like something from a nightmare, but Lyndon corrects him to say they are where nightmares come from because they're reminders of the old world, courtesy of you-know-who, and points down below. Sitterson walks over to Hadley, who is upset because Kurt had the conch in his hands, and he thinks he's never going to get to see a merman.
We'll bring that up later.
Yeah. Citizen tells him to be thankful because of those things are terrifying and the cleanup afterwards is horrible. Citizen says the Buckners have a 100% completion rate, and Hadley asks if they should call Japan and tell them to take the weekend off. Citizen says don't even joke about that, but Hadley says he just wants to see Japan fail once. Citizen mentions the other branches of all airball and they need Japan to succeed. On the monitor in the background, we see a floating Japanese girl in a classroom, reminiscent of Sadako from Ringu.
Yeah, I love how the Japanese crew is a reference to Japanese horror.
It's great.
Man,
it's so great.
They could have shown clips of more of the different operations around. Yeah, it's just so darn good.
From outside the cabin, we can look in to see Jules is dancing inside. She's dancing very sexy, and Holden and Dana are confused. Kurt, though, is very into it and asks Marty if he doesn't want a piece of that, to which Marty asks if they can not refer to people in pieces. We find out that freshman year, Jules and Marty did make out. Marty says that he has a theory about what is going on, and Kurt says it's time for Jules and him to go, calling him Tommy Chong, and he can explain it to the other two, unless that is if Holden is de-virginizing Dana. And that was a Cheech and Chong reference that he made because of all the weed he smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marty asks Dana if she doesn't notice that everyone is acting weird because Jules doesn't normally act that way she's currently acting, and Kurt has never been the alpha male type because he's a sociology major and on academic scholarship. Dana says that they're just drunk, but Marty says that he's seen them drunk, and so has she, but then she blames his weed, and he's telling her that she sees it, but she doesn't want to see it. He gets on the right track saying that there are puppeteers when Dana asks him to say it back. He thinks she says Pop-Tarts because he's so high. Holden is translating the Latin, which seems to impress Dana. She thinks it's a weird night, but Holden tells her that he's having a nice time. We cut to Kurt playfully chasing Jules, and they start to get into it. We see that there are about 20 other people in the control room watching. When Dana says it's too cold to take off a shirt, most of the men in the room just sigh, but Hadley kicks them all out. Then Sitterson and him adjust the temperature of the force to make it a bit warmer, followed by pumping in pheromones, and lastly adding a spotlight so there is a good environment for them to have sex.
Show us boobs, keep the customer satisfied.
Yeah, right.
That's what they say. And it's,
right,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, we know you're talking about us. Shut up.
Right. Both Sitterson and Hadley seem excited to see her topless, and Truman steps in asking if that's really important, and that's where he says that they're not the only ones watching. It's about the customer who want to see the kind of show.
Yeah.
Sitterson asks if Truman understands what's really at stake here. The sex scene does play out, and we do get some nudity, and that's when the Buckners show up and stab Jules in the hand. Kurt attacks back, but while fighting, he is stabbed in the back. He gets grabbed, and he watches as two people grab like a two-person saw and saw her head off.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah. In the office, Sitterson and Hadley say a little prayer about the offering, which they say to keep them in eternal slumber.
And this is where they finally, for the first time, are kind of telling us what the story is. Right?
Yes,
They're
yeah.
telling us that this is some sort of ritual to stop something bad from happening.
Right.
And this is also the first time, that the big horror stuff happens and people actually die and whatever. And I think it's neat the way that they synchronize those two stories so that as the tension is building, as the horror is building, we're also building up to what this is all about within the sort of behind the scenes part of it. I just think it's really cool how well synchronized and tied together everything is. And it does show to me, again, how skillful Joss Whedon is at just telling a story.
Yeah, it's written so well.
It's outstanding.
Yeah. Hadley pulls a lever, which behind the scenes, we see a lot of gear work to open up a blood that starts to pour down this carving in a wall that sort of reminds me of the ending of Blade.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually.
Marty says he's going to go find a book with pictures, and we see him reading Little Nemo while in bed. He's still smoking, but from a pipe now, when a voice whispers, "I want to go for a walk." He swears he hears someone talking. He starts to doubt himself, but the voice says it again. He then says the voice must think he's a little puppet, and he's not going to dance for them. He says he's his own boss in his brain, and then he comes up with the idea on his own. I think I want to go for a walk. Yeah, that's great.
The illusion of free will.
Yeah. Holden and Dana are making out, and she says, "I never," then stops herself because that's not true. He's being a total gentleman and doesn't want to rush her into anything. Marty walks by and mentions that Holden has a boner, which kind of kills the mood a little bit on his way outside. He notices that there are no stars, and then he starts to take a piss. In the background, we can see someone walking behind him from the side of the cabin. That's when Kirk runs up, clotheslines Anna, Patience Buckner, telling Marty to run inside. The group all see Kurt bloody. He tells them that Jules is gone, but Dana wants to go find her. She says she isn't leaving without Jules. She opens the door to reveal Matthew Buckner is standing there, who tosses Jules' head right into her arms. She screams while Kurt and Holden shove the door closed. Marty searches for something to help, but Dana runs up and helps that final push to close it. Kurt tells them there's more, and Marty tells them about the little girl with one arm, which Dana realizes Anna Patience.
I would just like to point out here that brief line about that there are no stars. I thought that was interesting.
They're like a dome.
Maybe they are.
Yeah.
I mean, before it, we thought there was just a force field, but I guess it's more than that.
Maybe.
But I also wondered if there's more significance to that, because it's like on a movie set, for example. If you were to look up at the sky, you would be indoor, you would not see any stars, right?
Unless they put them there.
Unless they put them there. And then also just kind of, there's also something, there's even a third dimension, like kind of a metaphorical, like even the stars have abandoned you in this place, right? Like there's no connection to nature.
So coming up is one of my favorite moments here in the movie. Kurt comes up with the amazing plan that they're going to barricade the entire cabin, going room by room, and no matter what, stick together. Hadley seems upset about this, but Stinson says, "We got it," and he releases some gas into the hall right as Kirk walks into it, which makes him turn around and say, "You know what? On second thought, we should split up. We can cover more ground that way." And the only one that thinks it's a bad plan is Marty. But it's my best.
It's another reference to one of these stupid tropes, right? That's the whole fun of the whole first half of this movie.
Yeah, because if this is the reason for every horror movie, they're all to appease the ancient ones. Mm-hmm. And when we're always mad at these characters for making these decisions, it's because there's someone in a control room puppeteering them to make these stupid decisions,
right,
to make us happy. It's amazing.
It is. I mean, we complain about them making the bad decisions, but they're doing it for us specifically.
Yeah, it's great.
Since we are the ancient ones in this scenario.
When the Buckners start to break in from the front wall, Kurt tells everyone to go to their own rooms, and we see in the control room they flip a switch to have them all locked inside, separating them all from each other. Marty's room, the door closes. He tries to break through the window. He accidentally knocks over a lamp, which causes him to see the camera that they used to spy on him. So he's like, what the heck? Hadley wants to pump 500 cc's of Thorazine in the room, which is interesting, the same drug that Dr. Loomis planned to use on Michael Myers when he was transporting him in Halloween. Sitterson says that it isn't necessary, points to the monitor where Judah Buckner is on his way to deal with Marty. Marty looks up into the camera cable. He's trying to figure out where it came from. He thinks he's on a reality TV show and is worried what his parents will think of him, which kind of reminds me of Scream. Then, when Judah Buckner pulls him through the window, Marty reaches for something to fight him off with. When Judah pulls out a knife, we see that Marty has his coffee mug bong, which extends out to use like a baseball bat. This doesn't really faze Judah, and Marty runs, only to get hit with the half blade of a broken shear thrown into his back. And Judah drags him away while he screams. In the control room, they pull another lever, adding more blood to pull down a section of wall, which shows the figure holding what looks like a martini glass. The walls start to shake, and Hadley thinks they're getting really excited downstairs. As Dana barricades her window, Mother Buckner breaks in, but Holden breaks through that two-way mirror and pulls her into his room. They start to move the bed to barricade it, and then Dana notices the trap door, but it's totally dark down there. She gets a lamp, removes the shade, and lowers it. At that moment, Kurt is trying to join them, and Holden tells them to meet them in the basement.
It's interesting that the basement and the cellar are two different things.
Yeah.
By the way, I thought those were synonyms.
I think they are. It's just a different section. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
In the new section of the basement, Dana says that this is where the Buckners killed people and is where they're going to be killed. Holden says they aren't going to die and they need to check the walls for doors. He yells for Kurt, but that is when a bear trap tool that is attached to a chain grabs him on the back and pulls him up into the bedroom. Dana grabs a crowbar and impales Matthew through the face with it, causing him to die temporarily. However, Matthew reawakens, removes the crowbars from his face, and attempts to make his way inside the room. Dana then grabs the kitchen knife and stabs Matthew in the chest repeatedly until Matthew dies a second time. In the control room, Hallie's disappointed in these zombies, asking Sitterson if he remembers when you could just throw a girl in a volcano, as Sitterson asks Hadley how old he thinks he is. Then I'm
not sure who we're supposed to be rooting for, by the way.
You know, you're not wrong.
I mean, at this point, I'm definitely rooting for the bad guys. I mean, honestly.
Sure. I mean, I like Marty a lot. Then we see Sitterson flip a switch to make the knife that Dana's holding have a little electric shock, and she drops it without even noticing it. Then Kurt comes in and leads both of them through the basement with artifacts and up an outside cellar door. When Dana asks Kurt, reports that they got Marty, and we watch all three of them get into the RV. When we zoom in to the door, we see that there's a dirty handprint on the RV as they drive away. We see the evil spirit in the Japanese classroom with the girls chanting around it while burning some notes and placing it in a bowl under it. This has the demon trapped, who gets pulled into the bowl and pops out a frog. The little girl picks up the frog and declares the evil is defeated. Now Kiko's spirit will live in a happy frog. And the girls in the classroom all cheer. In the control room, Sitterson's yelling, "Fuck you!" to each and every girl in the classroom. Like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. But they just can't hear him, obviously. So it just seems to make him feel better.
It's so great.
He connects with Lynn. I know, right? He connects with Lynn, who quotes him saying earlier, "Perfect record, huh?" And then we see Stockholm is declared a fall, and through the screen, it seems like a wasteland. Buenos Aires failed, which was a guerrilla attack, and Madrid has failed, and we see there's a building on fire. Lynn asks if downstairs said anything, but Sitterson says that they don't care about Japan because the director trusts them. Hallie asks what is up with the weed because Marty should have been drooling, but he almost made them. Lynn says they treated his weed heavily. Then we see that there's a problem with the collapsing tunnel, which the group is about to drive through. They're
going to escape.
Right. So as they cut Lynn off to deal with it, and she says where humanity's has hope if the ancients rise, and that's when they cut her off. Hallie tries to bypass the tunnel while Sitterson runs to the demolition department. There he asks what's going on, and they say there's a problem with electrical. Sitterson says the tunnel should have been blown hours ago, but the guy in there says that no one ever gave them the order.
And I dare you to tell me you weren't rooting for them to hurry up and collapse the tunnel in time.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah, I was like, of course, because it's filmed that way.
Yeah.
So he gets to work trying to cross the wires to fix the problem. Lynn shows up to the control room to ask why the tunnel hasn't blown. Ryder Stinson crosses the wires and triggers the explosion. Kurt starts driving backwards to get out of the tunnel. I think it's possible to root for both teams.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I am rooting for both teams.
In a way.
As he's driving backwards, I want them to make it.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they don't want to go back, and Holden asks sarcastically if they're going to jump to the other end of the tunnel, which is a massive gorge between two sides. Kurt remembers the motorbike on the back of the RV and believes he can make the jump to go get help. We see him on his 2006 Kawasaki KX 250F with the number 88 on it, and he's ready to make the jump. Kurt declares that he's made larger jumps and gives a great speech saying that even if he wipes out, he will limp to help, coming back with cops, choppers, and large fucking guns. Holden tells him not to hold back, and as he rides off, only to run into the force field that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen people online saying they were shocked by this. They didn't see this coming. Were they not paying attention to the eagle at the beginning? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
I don't get that part. Holden says he hit something and there was nothing there, but Dana now remembers that Marty had said puppeteers, and she says Marty was right. Holden runs into the RV telling Dana she should get in, and we see the control room are filling another section of the wall, and this one looks like a man holding a javelin. This is with the blood. Yeah. As we drive back to the cabin, Dana's figured it all out, but Holden doesn't want to lose hope, saying that they will drive to a road on the other side. She said the road will be collapsed or washed away, which both events do happen in The Evil Dead and in the remake Evil Dead. Well, like the first one, it collapsed, and in the remake, it was washed away, which I
Hang
think is
on.
hilarious.
One movie is Evil Dead, the other is Evil Dead?
No, one is The Evil Dead.
Oh, okay.
The remake is Evil Dead.
I see. Yeah, it was the
Just
Z that
like
I missed.
the second one is Evil Dead 2, which I saw this interview that movie producers believe that for part 2 you have to drop the because no one wants to hear the Black Phone 2. I mean, I think the Black Phone 2 sounds pretty cool, but they're like, no, it has to be Black Phone 2. It doesn't sound cool with a the. And I'm like, scratch my head about it.
Oh, I've seen that one, but I have not actually seen any of the Evil Deads.
Oh, they're good.
I keep hearing that, but
Yeah.
I just haven't seen them.
So he tells her that if that is the case, they'll have to go on foot. And she says he isn't getting it because everything's rigged against them. Holden asks her to remain calm because she is all he has, and she agrees. That's when Father Buckner appears, killing Holden by plunging a blade of his scythe through his throat, causing the RV to crash in a nearby body of water. As Dana is attempting to escape the flooded RV, Father Buckner grabs her leg, but she gets free, and he's dragged down under the water, remaining inside the RV. As Dana surfaces, we see Hadley and Sitterson already open bottles, ready to celebrate. Truman asks why they're celebrating, but Lynn points out that the two guys are celebrating, she's just drinking. Truman points out that Dana is still alive, and Hadley says that the virgin's death is optional. It doesn't matter if she dies or not, as long as she's the last one, and as long as she suffers. Sitterson adds that she's definitely suffered. Hadley seems to be growing a heart, saying how he is rooting for this girl because of how much heart she has. When he notices that another department shows up, and he changes to his inner party animal self, welcoming them in, declaring, "Tequila is my lady," because that guy showed up with tequila, and then another woman's carrying in popcorn. We watch as Dana is getting on the dock and lays down to take a moment to cry, but she doesn't get very far in that since she has to dodge the swinging chain with the bear trap on it because Matthew Buckner is back.
And the whole thing about the virgin's death is optional, of course, being another reference to horror cliches, but they've got this whole thing where they're all rejoicing because they've succeeded, right?
Right.
I think maybe we're rejoicing with them even though we're not supposed to. And I guess it's supposed to be a shocking contrast because they're showing all this graphic violence while they're
It's on
all
the monitors
celebrating.
in the background.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, that's of course, the exact situation for the audience watching a horror movie, right?
Right.
That we're rejoicing watching everybody get mowed down. And
Right. Yeah, and so during this party scene, Roll with the Changes by our Speedwagon plays, which on a total tangent here, in AmeriCorps we had a talent show, and one of the teams, I want to say it was Earth 7, I could be wrong on that. Anyway, one of the teams did an air guitar show, but it was a whole air band, and they played a whole REO Speedwagon set while one person played the keyboard with an ironing board and another guy had a broom for a guitar, and it was just a silly talent show thing that was totally fun, which that song always reminds me of. So a lot happens during this party, including people asking about overtime, which Ronald the intern says he doesn't qualify for. A guy tries to show a woman that he likes that he got tickets to her favorite ballet, but she ignores him. Then Sitterson starts to give Demolition a hard time, but again, they say it wasn't their fault, and the woman on the team says it was a glitch from upstairs. Sitterson gets really offended by what she might be implying from upstairs, but we don't get to explore that before the phone rings. But it feels like she was trying to say that if they're working for the Ancient Ones, upstairs would be God.
I was wondering about it.
But the movie doesn't let us explore it because they interrupt the conversation.
Well, I don't know, because at one point they get a call from upstairs, right? When the red phone rings.
Oh no, I thought that was downstairs as well.
But downstairs is the ancient. They're not talking.
Yeah, but I
directly
think
to
the
the
director
ancients.
also works for the Ancients, and she's really close to where the Ancients are when she's revealed. I don't know.
I don't either.
Okay, Hadley orders the music to stop, and on the phone he says there must be a mistake because all but the girl are dead. Then we hear him ask which one, and we cut back to Dana, who has been on the monitors the whole time, and we see that as Matthew Buckner is swinging the chain with the bear trap around it, it is stopped midair as it wraps around Marty's bong. And so while I've been cheering for both, I cheered the loudest for this
Bong of
because
justice.
Marty is still alive, and I love Marty. Yeah. He pulls Matthew Buckner over, and when he does, Matthew sits up with like a Michael Myers sit-up. Dana pulls a plank of wood from the dock and knocks it across his head, sending him into the water. They run, and we see him already coming up from the water. Marty leads her into a grave, which she's confused about, as Anna Patience Buckner comes after them. Inside, we see that Marty has hotwired the room, and we see the remains of Judah Buckner inside the room, which are dismembered, but they're still animated. Marty asks, and Dana confirms that there's no one else alive. She says that he figured it out, and Dana says that he figured out everything. He says no, but he did figure out that this room leads to an elevator, which means that someone sent those zombies after them. He says that there are controls, and he believes he can make the elevator go down. Dana isn't sure they should, but he says where else would they go? So he clicks the wires, they jump in the elevator, and they start going down. And as they jump in, the doors almost don't close because the zombie arm is like falling down with them. But he kicks it out of the way. The elevator is a cube, and two of its opposite sides are full windows. When they get down there, we see a lot of creatures, and I'll do my best to go over what we see. We see a werewolf or a wolf man. We see a phantom spirit, a ballerina girl with no eyes but many, many rows of teeth, like a mouth inside a mouth inside a mouth.
Do we know if that's a reference to something specific?
I mean, we got a ballerina vampire after this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we got... I don't know which ones it would have been before.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to figure out how many of these were references to specific movies.
I mean, I feel like a lot of them are. I just don't know that I know all of them.
Right, yeah.
We look at what looks to be a Cinnamite to me with saw blades in his head.
Definitely a Cinnamite.
Right? But it also kind of looks like Bloody Disgusting's logo. They have this like buzzsaw guy with a saw thing through his head.
But this guy is also...
holding the sphere.
Has the sphere, right?
Yeah, the puzzle sphere.
Clearly,
yeah.
it's...
And this is where Dana figures out they had to choose what would come after them. As it backs away, we see a giant spider, some demon goats, an evil clown, a giant serpent, a set of evil twin little girls shining, what looks like a spider robot with buzzsaw blades on it, a centipede, and normal, everyday, slow-moving zombies.
Do you think that the clown was a reference to It?
I think so. There are a couple other clown...
Sure, killer clowns from outer space.
Right, but I think it is definitely a reference to it. I also see a big bat and a gorilla.
Yes. And the fact that they're in essentially a Wonka-vator.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's intended as a reference to Willy Wonka, but it is in my mind.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Willy Wonka is now a horror movie according to Cabin in the Woods. And if you think about it,
sure, kind
of is.
I mean, like we were told that the kids survived the end.
Yeah, well, yeah. Charlie's the final girl.
You're right. Yeah.
But I mean, this would be such a cool House of Horrors idea, right? To have something like that, like you're going through this type of thing, and then eventually it stops and the door opens, right? You have to like. I think it's a cool idea. But.
So interestingly, Until Dawn seems to be what a lot of people said they wanted from this. Like, if they wish the movie would explore it, even though I think this is a perfect film, people say I kind of wanted to see all of those movies with all of those villains. I feel like Until Dawn does this.
I'm not familiar.
So it's based on a video game, but very loosely, which upset a lot of fans of the video game.
I see.
But my kids like the movie. I like the movie. It's fun if you just like want to watch a stupid horror movie. But they go into this house in the woods, and they meet something that kills them.
Would you call it a cabin?
No, but they meet some creature of some kind that kills them. Uh-huh. And then they wake up at the start of them in the house again.
Oh, that sounds neat.
And they repeat it, and they got to survive until dawn. That's the name of the movie. But each day, it's a different villain coming after them, and they don't know what to expect.
I see.
And they have, 21 days or something that they have chances after that they're dead for good or something like that. Mm. So that movie does good on the let's deliver as many of these bad guy tropes as we can.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun movie. Anyway, that's just fun tangent. In the control room, they are giving orders to search the cells for the two of them, while ordering them to only kill the fool and not harm the girl, because if she dies first, this all will go to hell. Lynn comes in with the knowledge that the chemistry is saying that the weed that Marty has been smoking has been immunizing him to their shit. When the elevator doors open, a guard pointing a gun at them orders the girl out. That's when the zombie arm grabs him, which distracts him, and Marty shoves him backwards, bashing his head against the wall, which leaves a trail of blood. Marty grabs the shear blade and the gun and making sure to tell the zombie arm he did a good job.
I want to comment. The thing about how they explained that they had missed one of his stashes.
Yeah.
And that the weed was protecting him. Like, this is funny because it's so much what a lot of stoners believe, right?
Yeah.
That the weed is what frees you from the mind control of the man or whatever. And they made that literally true.
The only part that sort of doesn't work, unless they're idiots, turned off the monitor. They had all their vitals on the screen. His vitals would have still existed, unless it said he's dead, turn off the vital monitor.
Right.
They could have done that, I guess. But him thinking the arm reminds me of Cloverfield Paradox with all their antics they had with the severed arm. What are you trying to say, arm? All right. Now out of the elevator, they hear the voice of the director, who says they shouldn't be there, and that they're part of something ancient, and that their job is to placate the Ancient Ones, as it is their job to be offered up by them. She then asks Marty and Dana to forgive them and let them just get this over with.
Now that sounds like a terrible argument, but honestly, I think that would have been persuasive to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, I'm not going to... I mean, if I save my own life, but it's going to destroy the world anyway, then what's the point of saving my life?
Right.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
If you knew that, why would you keep going? You're going to die either way.
But will I get to finish The Walking Dead? That's the question. If I get to finish The Walking Dead before death, the choice becomes harder.
But no, because as soon as the Ancient Ones rise, right? Like, I just don't understand it. He could have sacrificed himself in order to save her at that moment with that knowledge, and he didn't.
Well, he believed society needed to crumble.
Well, but for what?
I don't know. That's what he believed.
But what's
I don't believe
the gain?
It. I don't believe
It's
it.
like, nobody wins.
He doesn't want to be monitored. Marty and Dana run into the control room for the elevators, which is unstaffed, and at the moment, they lock the doors. The guards come in with automatic rifles to fire on them. While they're ducking, Dana notices controls, and she hits the system, which purges the system, opening all the doors to let the creatures out in waves of 8 at a time.
And this is one of the most epic scenes in any movie ever, because you now have all these guys with this incredible battle, incredible, epic, massive scale battle, which must have been very expensive.
Sure.
And it's so freaking cool, and it's so chaotic. And ironically, it is another example of the horror movie punishing the bad guys for the audience's enjoyment, because they've made the behind-the-scenes guys the bad guys, and now they are punishing them by unleashing all the horrors on them. And I'm not sure if the creator of the movie realizes the irony here, but
I think they have to have. They have to. The first wave arrives, including the giant serpent, a robot spider, a wraith with lightning abilities, a flying creature, the werewolf, and some zombies. They destroy the unit of guards so fast, leaving a lot of blood, and the scene is very epic, as you said. Another unit of guards run up to see that the first unit is all over the place, and blood has filled the entire room, and the zombies are eating the leftovers. To make matters worse, the elevators open to reveal the next wave of horrors. Inside the control room, the window is completely covered in blood, so we don't see what's happening. We do watch as the Cenobite guy walks out with a really big bug, some people wearing generic-looking white masks. In the halls, we see a phantom terrorizing people, while the serpent is eating others. The Cenobite guy is hanging a guy from the ceiling wrapped in chains, which is right on brand. We see the robot spider killing people, some evil doctors operating on staff, something with a head whose features are in the wrong spot crawling all around the ceiling, staff members shooting herself in the head, and a lot of general chaos going on.
did we get the unicorn yet?
No, it's coming. In the main control room, Truman is calling for backup, but no one is responding. On the monitors, we see all the things going on, including Harold the intern, alone in a room writing notes, asking for help. The power goes out. When the power comes back on, the monitors are no longer on, and something starts to break through the big vault door that blocks the control room. Back in the elevator control room, a giant bat breaks in, sending Martin and Dana running. They run into a man with a lab coat who tries to warn them to go the other way, because that way is blocked, but he's taken out by a bat. Then zombies come after them. They escape through a hole made in the bat. We do see a clown kill 2 people, but then a unicorn shows up and stabs the guy in the gut. And even though it came out 14 years later, this reminds me of the movie that came out called Death of a Unicorn.
I just think it's hilarious that they make the unicorn evil. It's just so funny.
It's so good. Only one elevator opens this time, and it's Anna Patience Buckner arriving to the bloodbath. In the control room, it looks like 4 scarecrows have taken out Truman. And I know I said this before, but Night of the Scarecrow was the first horror movie I can remember sneaking into the living room to watch. So it holds a special place in my heart to watch scarecrows in a horror movie. Hadley fires at the next wave with his Heckler and Koch MP5K, while Sitterson and Lynn attempt to bypass a door to get beneath the room. That's when Truman, who's being gutted, sets off a grenade, killing all the scarecrows and himself, but he got to die in his way. This sends Hadley flying, whose ears are ringing, and his vision is now blurry, but when he can see again, he sees what he's been wishing for this whole time, which is a merman.
The merman!
Which unfortunately is here to kill him.
It's perfect, though. He should be honored.
I know. But he says, oh come on. And it's a total be careful what you wish for moment, because he wished for 2 things this whole movie. He wished for Japan to fail, and he wished to see a merman. And he got both of his wishes. And if
did.
it wasn't for him wishing, I do wonder, maybe the world wouldn't have been doomed.
That's a fascinating thought.
It's just interesting, right? So the hole in his back as he's devouring his face is spitting blood upward in this crazy shower. Citizen and Lynn are able to get the door, but then a giant octopus tentacle comes through the ceiling and grabs Lynn. The trapdoor leads to a tunnel where he literally runs into Dana. Unfortunately for him, he's stabbed by the shear that she took off the Buckner. When Marty comes around the corner, Citizen begs her to kill Marty before falling dead on the floor. Then they walk into the final room with the 5 pictures depicting the characters that represent them. Marty looks over the edge and we see something massive slumbers but is waking up. Marty asks what the pictures are, and Dana says it's Us, which is a great movie from Jordan Peele, which again came out much later.
I don't think that's what they're talking about.
They're not. It's not.
I think they're talking about the first person plural pronoun.
I got it. She figured out that it's part of a ritual, but Marty says that they can just tie them up and have a bunch of people with robes kill them because it's simple. Dana knows that it isn't simple and they want to see them punished. Marty asks for what? And this is when the director shows up, and I remember saying, I knew that voice was her when she comes out because it's Sigourney Weaver, again, who I love from Alien, Galaxy Quest, Avatar, Ghostbusters, where she also played a character named Dana. Mm-hmm. She breaks down the rules saying that it has changed over the years and is different in every culture, but it always has to be young people. She tells them that they must be at least 5. The whore, she's corrupted, she dies first. The athlete, the scholar, the fool, all suffer and die at the hand of whatever whore they raised, leaving the last to live or die as fate decides, the virgin. Dana points out that she isn't a virgin.
Me, a virgin?
And the director says they work with
what we have. That's such a good line.
Yeah. Marty was asked what happens if they don't pull it off, and she tells them they arise. Dana asks who and what's beneath them. The director says the ancient ones, the gods that used to rule the earth. She then tells Marty that the sun comes up in 8 minutes, and if he lives, the whole world will end. Marty says, true to what he was saying at the beginning of the trip, well, maybe it's time. Maybe it's the way it should be. If you're going to kill my friends to survive, maybe it's time for a change.
But then you would be killing them too.
Yes, but
you would be killing your
principle
friends
of the matter.
Why is killing your friends just to kill them better than killing your friends to survive?
No.
See what I mean?
Don't kill my friends.
Well, but you see my point? Like,
no, they wouldn't have killed them. The ancient ones would have killed them, and they're evil, and I get that. But these are humans killing them. It's not okay.
Yeah, I know we're supposed to feel like it's a moral quandary. I don't see the moral quandary.
I understand what you're saying. I would choose to live as long as possible. I don't think I can sacrifice myself.
Well, I don't get it. You're buying minutes. And we already know everybody's going to die. Oh, look, okay.
If you believe them.
Well, there wasn't any sign he didn't believe them.
I know.
That didn't feel like it was the issue. The issue was, it felt like the creator of the story really enjoys the thought of destroying humanity. Like he thinks humanity is evil and corrupt and deserves to die and be punished and be destroyed, and sees that as the position that is good, right? The one that the quote unquote upstairs is aligned with.
Right.
And evil is continuing to, do whatever, make whatever sacrifices in order to preserve life. And I think this movie, without intending to, more than any other, underscores why I am 100% on the evil side. It's always like this, right? Like you've got the evil side is the moral side that wants the end of the world. You've got, if you go back to like the Dark Ages, it was the same way. You've got the good guys, the moral guys of the church who say humanity is evil and corrupt and needs to suffer and be punished. And then you've got the reaction to that in the Renaissance, which was kind of more this like attitude of no, just do what we need to do to survive. And I think it's like every period in history I look at, I'm on the bad guy's side.
Okay. All right. So we cut to Dana, who's behind Marty, who starts pointing the gun at him. She tells him it's the whole world, and the director adds that Dana has to be strong. Marty asks if she's feeling strong. She says, I'm sorry, but then we see a pair of eyes behind her. Marty says, so am I, and that's where a werewolf bites her, sending the gun sliding over on the ground. Dana screams, and Marty and the director fight for the gun. Marty punches her, winning the gun. Instead of shooting the director, he fires at the werewolf to save Dana. The werewolf flees, and Marty and the director fight over the gun again. Then Dana can feel that something is approaching her, but decides to walk right past her, and we can see it's carrying a hatchet. Dana is able to warn Marty, who was in top mount position, flips the director so he could be on bottom mount. That's when the director is about to shoot him, and Anna Patience Buckner puts the hatchet in the back of her head, killing her. With the weapon stuck, Marty shoves the director over the edge, and that pulls Anna Patience Buckner with her. The room continues to rumble as the gods are waking, and Marty sits down next to Dana. He tells her that, hey, and she replies, I don't even think Kurt has a cousin. And a lot of people think that line means that Kurt was somehow part of this.
No way.
I agree with you. There's no way that he was.
I think it's more that he was tricked.
Right, exactly.
Like that he didn't know that.
Yeah, something wasn't right about it. Yeah, I agree with you. All right. He says he's sorry, and she apologizes for almost shooting him. And he says he gets it, adding that he's sorry he let her get attacked by a werewolf. And then for ending the world. He lights up a joint, which they share. And Dana says that he's right about humanity because it gives someone else a chance. As the room shakes some more, Marty says, giant evil gods. Dana wishes she could have seen them. And Marty says that would have been a great weekend. But then they both hold hands as the room starts to fall apart even more when the giant hand bursts through the floor, up into the cabinet, slap it in the ground, and give him credit. So they did see it as they died.
Yeah, well, I already had kind of my rant about this.
I know.
But I will say, this movie, I felt like combines Joss Whedon's themes from Dollhouse and Buffy into one story, kind of.
Yeah.
Because like in Buffy, you've got all the battle between the forces of, evil, the ancient original gods or whatever, and then powers that be. And then in Dollhouse, you've got the whole sort of conspiracy controlling people and manipulating people and all that. So it's a very Whedon-esque story. It's got both of those elements in it. It's extremely well written.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic movie. You know what? Does the world end, or is there some kind of apocalypse at the end of everything Joss Whedon has ever done?
Not Serenity.
Okay.
But that was canceled early.
Yeah. Well, Firefly was. Yeah.
Firefly was, right? Yeah. So they didn't really have time to build up to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's often an apocalypse at the end of his stories.
Yeah, I mean, he had 6 apocalypses in the 7 seasons of Buffy, right? Was there one season without one?
Well, I mean, at the end, he destroys the entire city.
Yeah, but it's still not like a world-ending event.
Okay.
Oh,
sure.
no, they stopped it. It would have been a world-ending event.
Right, but it was like a localized apocalypse at least. I mean, just like at the end of Angel.
Yeah.
Everybody dies, right? In that story, at the end of House, all of society collapses.
Yeah, well, that happened so fast. Because that was getting canceled, but he had enough time to write the end.
Yeah. And at the end of, I guess at the end of Firefly, end of Serenity, they survive.
Not at the end of Avengers. But he did do Age of Ultron, right? And that was kind of apocalyptic for that local area.
Yeah. Huh.
Obviously, he was restrained a little bit, Cool, man. That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd seen it until about 2 years ago when my kids came home from a camping trip, and one of their counselors said that if I like horror movies so much, I should watch this one. And I'm like, you know what? It's on a list. I just hadn't watched it yet. And that totally made time.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Nightmare Echoes. We have new episodes every Monday. If you would like to, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. All links are in the description if you want to visit us on social media, and we do have a YouTube up now. So if you want to listen to us on YouTube, the link's in the description there as well. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Try not to end the world.
Scene. Line. No, just kidding.